All right, folks, if you want to throw where you're calling in from in the chat, we can get started in a minute or so.
I also love it when people share groups that they're a part of in Hilo.
Yes. We can start with a land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Ramaytush Ohlone First Nations, on which the Terran Collective is learning, working, and collaborating today. So if you know whose land you're on, feel free to throw it in the chat. So welcome to our end of year community call. We have a lot of exciting things to share with you today. We're going to start with a development update, share about some partnerships that we're excited about, our stewardship story, a new offering, community stewardship as a service, ways that our Hilo community can get involved, and we'll end with a Q&A. And just some quick stats before we dive in. As of now, we have 54 active groups, which means 4 or more posts per month. And we had 99 new groups added this month. So exciting stuff. So we'll start with a development update and I'll pass it on to Tibet.
Sure. Yeah, it's always fun to get to talk about the cool new stuff in Hilo since our last community call. Just jumping right in, the biggest, perhaps, I think biggest, most exciting release that I'm sure everyone has noticed, who's currently using Hilo is full text formatting options in our post editor. You can see, bold and italic and strike through and code and lists in the formatting bar. There's a lot more. This is now built on top of a really well-maintained, thorough editor that has all kinds of other stuff going on in the background that we can add. You can also use all the standard, Apple B on a Mac computer to bold and undo and redo and all the standard key commands you're used to. You can also paste rich text in and it should handle it quite well. A few things that are not easy and obvious quite yet, as you can see, are not on the formatting bar right now, are adding links. But if you paste in a link from another document, that will work fine. And we just want to figure out the best UI for that. Of course, you can just paste in a link. And actually, our link preview functionality is also much improved and should be less buggy and provide better previews than it used to. And you can also more easily choose which link by clicking on a link. There's a little button that will pop up saying, do you want this to be the featured link in your post? So lots of really exciting stuff there. I think the next piece to build on top of that is just to make the editor be able to expand to full screen so you can more easily really edit a rich post. But we can move on. And part of that also is that video embeds now work. So if you paste in a YouTube or a Vimeo link, the preview for that will be a full playable video in your post, which is something people have been asking for a long time. And you can, again, choose which video you want to kind of highlight at the top of the post. And another direction, we have also added the ability to share public post pages with people that are not logged into Hilo. So if you have a post that's public, you can copy the link, you can send it to anyone, and there will be a post page they can see without being a registered user of Hilo. So really useful to send around events, get people into Hilo, into your group. They have to then sign in to be able to interact with it. But it's, one of the most important features to start like making Hilo more shareable, more usable in other contexts. And one of the things that we are about to release as well is public group pages that can be shared. So right now, if you're not a member of a group, but you're signed into Hilo, you can see a group that is public or that you have the visibility settings to be able to witness. There is a sort of like public group page. It's just not visible to people who are not registered or signed into Hilo. And so we're adding that in the very near future. Moving on, another really cool new release that I know many of you have played with is custom views, which is the ability to add new, it can be a link or a sort of internal Hilo custom view, we call it, to the navigation of your group on the left. And so you could just add a link to your GitHub or a Google Doc or a Trello board, and we have all different kinds of icons you can use for different services. But you can also add a custom view that can kind of sort and filter posts in a way that is interesting or useful to your group. So one thing that I've done in a couple of my groups is add an open requests and offers view. And so it filters all the posts in the group by whether they're a request or an offer. And then there's this checkbox that says include only active posts, which means currently open requests or offers that haven't been marked as completed or aren't past their kind of end date. And then we also have a type of custom view called a collection. And this is the beginning of a lot of really interesting functionality, but it's basically a manually curated set of Hilo posts. So right now, just admins can create this, but it would let you set up, maybe you are running a course and you want to have your set of modules. And so you create like a post for each module, and then you create a collection that's your modules, and you can order them manually. You can order them either by, a sort type, like by post date, but you can also manually drag and drop the posts into the order that you want and choose whether you want that collection to by default appear as a stream or a grid or a list, and really customize how the people in your group, what views they're seeing and how you want them to interact with the data in your group. And then, collections, we're going to extend this soon to allow anyone to create their own curated collections, and it will kind of lead into the ability to just bookmark or save posts to personal collections and things like that. So that will be coming soon, built on top of this functionality. Moving forward, another nice recent feature is searching streams, and you can this like filtering capability is available in different views, including custom views. But basically, we have the kind of global search that right now searches across all your groups, but this makes it much easier to search within the current group and add a filter either by topic or just by any search text that you want. So that's really nice and handy to be able to filter and search from wherever you currently are. Moving on to kind of upcoming stuff in the next few weeks, next month. The most exciting thing that we've been working on for a while now is topic-based chat rooms and emojis. I know emojis are such a in some ways a small thing. We already have the ability to upvote posts, but it's also one of the most commonly asked for things and something we're really excited to have. So, switching from just a single upvote to being able to react using any emoji that you want, or multiple different reactions like Slack and Discord and other platforms. And so this will also be available on comments. So for the first time, you'll be able to react to comments in Hilo. But that's kind of, that's a really exciting set of features, but much bigger than that is adding kind of Slack or Discord like chat rooms, and basically are replacing the topic streams with these chat rooms. It's a little bit of an experiment. Topic streams are useful just for filtering, but now we have the ability to filter the stream by topic just by entering a topic at the top of the stream. So we thought it would be much more useful to bring in the kind of rapid, asynchronous day-to-day chat-like functionality from a Slack or a Discord, and have that live alongside the Facebook-like posts that will still be in the stream and in other before I continue, what I could ask everyone who's not currently muted to mute themselves. We're getting some background noise, or maybe Trisha, you can mute some folks. Thank you. So yeah, so we'll have both the current paradigm in Hilo, which is more like Facebook posts with, threaded conversations, but then we'll also have these topic-based chat rooms that where you'll be able to just type a quick, quick sentence or post a link without needing to put in the full kind of post information that we currently ask for, and having like a title and a separate description. And then when you click on a chat post, it's still a full post in Hilo, and so it'll still bring up the full threaded ability. But it, enables, just a different type of communication that a lot of people are used to. And we're really excited to see how people use, having both paradigms of kind of the quick chat, and then also posts which are meant to last longer and have like ongoing threaded conversations, and be able to be collected and viewed in different ways. So yeah, that's definitely our most exciting upcoming release that's very, very close to done. The other things that we're working on right now, including building on our kind of alpha release of our APIs that some of our partners are using now to make them more publicly available, and add Zapier integration, which will make it possible to do all kinds of interesting things and integrate Hilo with so many other platforms that already exist. So you'll be able to, have a forum that goes into Airtable that automatically posts to Hilo, or have maybe a Google Calendar event that automatically posts to Hilo, things like that. Whatever, Zapier just opens up an infinite array of possibilities. And I can't say exactly what possibilities will be available in our kind of next, call it beta release of our API. But just having publicly available APIs will be huge, and we can sort of iterate on those and continue to improve based on what people want to be able to do. The custom admin tags and member categories is something we're working on with one of our partners, still kind of sorting out exactly what that looks like, but it's the ability to tag people within a group with different badges or roles, or kind of ways to differentiate between, people who may be a member of a co-op, for example. How do you see when you're browsing around in a group that this person has a certain role or badge within the group? So we're still figuring out the best way to do that, but that's in progress. Another thing that's coming along nicely is we're finally working on internationalization and multi-language support. That's getting close to ready, and Krisha will talk about how we could use additional support with translations once that's done. And then also working on better metrics and analytics, and the ability for group admins and potentially everyone in the group to get a lot more data about what's happening, and kind of visualize the activity and engagement within a group. So those are like our immediate short-term upcoming things. Actually, another one that I forgot to put on this list that we're working on is a kind of my view, my stuff view, or inbox view. We're still settling on the name, maybe my home, which will be a really quick and easy way to view kind of all of the important information that's happening across Hilo. Like right now we have the all groups view, but this will kind of break down into different categories. You'll be able to find like all of the posts that I have interacted with, all of the posts that I've been mentioned in, all of the posts that I created, things like that in kind of one context that's more personal. Yeah, so those are like kind of immediate short-term things.
I'm seeing a number of questions in the chat, so I think it would be exciting to answer some of them now before we move on. I don't know if you're tracking these to bet, but we can all look at them. First of all, we had some questions from Nat about how people could access the chat channels, and just in case anyone else was wondering that, anyone in a group can access a chat channel, and the way that a member of a group has them show up on their left-hand nav is if they're subscribed to that channel. So people can subscribe when they look at a topic, but the steward of a group can also pin suggested topics. So if there's particular hashtags that are really important in your group, you can pin them as a steward of it, and then they show up and they're visible for anyone in that group, and then they can just click on it and join it. And this is different from the direct messaging functionality, which still exists and is separate. And so those private one-on-one or group messages are still part of the platform. But the chat channels are open to everyone in the group. I also saw a question from Stephen about a universal feed, which is maybe the question is like, are we intending to do that? And I think at this point, that's not how we would describe what's happening here. Like not intending to like be pulling in information from your email or from social media, although we are doing a lot of work on interoperability so that things that get posted in Hilo, you could potentially be sending out to other platforms.
With is where using standardized protocols and be interoperable with other platforms.
Krisha. No worries, no worries. I saw also a comment from Marlita about SSO. So that stands for single sign-on for folks that might not be familiar with that. And so Hilo is an OAuth provider. So creating authentication through Hilo on your own separate website is possible. And so if you're interested in that for your group on your website, you can reach out to us directly and we can help you get that set up. That takes a little bit of legwork, but it's totally possible. So you could have someone logging into their account on Hilo in order to log into your website at the same time. So that's totally a thing. Yeah, we got a lot of questions. So I'm just going to keep going through them before we move on because that's where we are. We have a question from Bruce about integration with Pabbly. I am not familiar with that one. Do you want to tell us what that is?
It's essentially a Zapier clone, but it's way cheaper. And so in terms of working with not-for-profits and other very low budget operations, that's what we've been using. So it's much more affordable, accessible. It's not quite as powerful as Zapier. I mean, Zapier's the god, right? But I can see why you would connect with them first.
That's a great point. I'm not familiar with the pricing model on Zapier. Tibet, do you know?
Well, I mean, I'll just say that the APIs we open up will be generally available. So anyone could then work to create, a connection to Pabbly, whether it's us or somebody else, it's just going to be using the same APIs. So Zapier is sort of brought in particularly because we've had a number of people ask for that. So we're going to do the legwork to set up the integration. And that's kind of how we're testing our APIs, but the APIs will be available for any and all kind of integration once they're up and running.
Cool. Love that. Cool. Okay, next from Alex Sasha is a question about Zoom and calendar integration. Yeah, we want that so bad. No, right now there's not Zoom integration or calendar integration. That is something that we really want. We've heard a lot of desire for, and it's just a matter of finding a partner that can fund that shares that interest. So far, we haven't gotten there. And yeah, cool. Okay, I think that's all the questions I'm seeing for now. So, Tibet, if you had any final things you want to share, go for it. Otherwise, we can.
No. Yeah, take it away.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so more about partnerships. Yay. The partnership I'm going to focus on today is with our friends at Pro Social World. So anyone who's been on one of these calls before knows that we're really big fans of the Pro-Social World team. It's a team of researchers who are evolutionary biologists and psychologists, and they wrote a book called Pro-Social, and it's based on the Nobel Prize winning work of Eleanor Ostrom, who won the prize in economics many years ago for studying groups that were effectively managing a common resource. And so they've adopted this framework for helping any group become more productive, equitable, and collaborative. And we have participated in the training. Actually, everyone on our team has participated in their training, either in the past or currently. It's been really transformative for us to learn from this framework and to implement it in our work. And we've been in dialogue with these researchers for a couple of years now. And our partnership has really evolved and deepened over time. And we are starting a co-development scope of work with them right now, which is really fun. And it's just the beginning of our work together. But for now, we're just knocking out a few really important UX improvements that they received, the things they really wanted to make the platform more usable for them and for their community pro-social commons. And so Tibet already touched on the inbox functionality, and the inbox functionality, again, that's going to be one place you can go that shows all of your posts, all reactions to your posts, any new information about posts that you're following, and announcements from groups that you're a part of. So if you want one place to show up on Hilo and see everything that you really need to see, this will be that place. So that makes it a little bit easier for people that might be part of multiple groups or just want to make sure that they're not missing anything. We got you covered. So then the other two things here are notification links, just making sure that our notifications functionality is very, very functional, and that when you click on a link, either in a push notification or an email, you're going to the exact place where a mention is happening, and that it's highlighted so that you can see exactly what you're meant to see. Because thanks Anita, that was coming up for them as something they weren't totally sure that they were always seeing what they were supposed to see. So we're fixing that. And then this other thing here is a really subtle, nuanced thing for Hilo, but default behavior on Hilo is that content from subgroups that you are a member of bubbles up to the stream in a parent group that you are a member of. So if you're looking at a group that is like a multi-stakeholder network with lots of subgroups doing different things, if you look at that group's stream, you're going to see content from the subgroups. And this is how it's been on Hilo since we implemented holonic architecture a couple of years ago, but we didn't have anything indicating for people what is happening in the stream and why they were seeing those posts. So that was a confusing experience for people. So now we are giving members more sovereignty here and letting each of us humans decide if we want to see content from subgroups in our stream. So that's a toggle that you will be able to set on or off. It will be on by default. And then when a post shows up in your stream that is coming from a subgroup, there will be a special indicator so that you know. So you can still benefit from that aggregation and from bringing that information together from the edges if you would like to, or you can choose not to. But either way, it's going to be a lot clearer what is happening. So we're super excited to work on those things. Yeah, so that's all with Pro-Social at the moment, but we have a number of things cooking with them. Okay, cool. Okay, now here's another super exciting thing. Some of you might have seen this, but we just released a new blog post and a new slide deck that is going into great detail with our deepest, most authentic dreams, desires, plans, vision, etc. for Hilo for the coming year. I can grab a link to that. One second. Grabbing this link, dropping the link in the chat. But if you haven't read this yet, I would really want to invite you to read it to understand more deeply what we are getting at here, and check out the slide deck. We are working on Hilo because we want to create a tool for purpose-driven groups to achieve their dreams and to do a really good job. Healthy groups for a healthy world. That is what's happening here. And in the deck, we go into detail on what some of those tools are that we are hearing is needed from the groups that we work with, because everything we do is done through relationship-driven development with communities that exist on the ground today. And the Stewardship Toolkit is a set of features that are, it's basically for groups to engage in governance of themselves and resources they share. And that includes bringing pro-social functionality into the platform, bringing governance functionality into the platform. And we draw from sociocracy with a lot of this, but that is not the only governance methodology that we love. It involves more advanced tools for place-based groups, because groups that are sharing a common landscape are able to do a lot of regeneration together. And more deeper tools for trust, relationship management, and reputation, so that we know who is trusted in a group to do what. So we are in the process of speccing these out, which just means like describing exactly what these are going to look like. Many of them are already designed as well. And so over the coming season, we're going to be sharing with our community on Building Hilo how we see these tools in detail playing out. And it's something that we would love, love, love to have your input and participation in, because we really want to make sure that the tools that we design are what is needed and what you would want to try. So would love for people to read this in conclusion and get involved with creating this vision with us, because this is a co-creative project. Yeah, and I just saw a question from Nat about like, what are we thinking for community governance? Like at a really high level, definitely proposals, being able to vote in different ways on proposals. A really big need that we need ourselves in our organizing work and also in communities that we work with is participatory budgeting. So groups have a shared funding pool and they need to figure out how to distribute it. So that might look like a co-budgeting model where you each get a pot of money and then you get to allocate your dollars to different projects. There's a lot of things it could look like, but that's definitely one of the needs. And another specific need is in collective moderation and stewardship of groups. So like, how do we manage the groups that we're a part of online? What happens when some kind of action needs to be taken because there's bad behavior in a group, or to reward good behavior? Traditional platforms don't handle moderation extremely well. And so that's a big use case that we're hearing that is an opportunity for collective governance as well, because moderation can be a collective process. Yeah. And Stephen, I would love to read the white paper that you just finished on participatory budgeting. Yeah. So that's all on that for now, but happy to answer questions later on too. And
all right. Okay,
yeah.
So community stewardship, our new program. So beyond features, one thing that we've repeatedly heard from partners across the board is support in onboarding their groups and managing their growth and success. And this is something that we've been offering informally for the past couple of years now. But we've really decided to create an offering around this, an official offering, which we're going to start piloting early next year. And this offers a way for communities to be in a reciprocal relationship with us supporting them in their journey with Hilo, supporting their communities to thrive, and in turn, getting resourced for our work. So we have two options. One would be onboarding support, and another ongoing support, the latter with 4 varying degrees of hands-on support in managing the community. And aspects of this program include mapping out your group architecture, your network, what that looks like, guiding your onboarding process and engagement, training and demo calls with group moderators, as well as your members, customizable materials, and this could be, unique documentation in your group context or videos, as well as community building workshops. And we see a lot of potential for this. And the long-term vision is to grow a team of professional community stewards that are trained in prosocial, trained in sociocracy, and know the ins and outs of Hilo, available for hire by our partners to support their communities in thriving on the platform. So something that I have a lot of stake in. I'm really excited about this. It's something that I've been doing as a stakeholder advocate, and we're really excited to have something formal to be able to offer all these amazing groups that use Hilo.
Awesome. Thanks, Krisha. So this is the last slide, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A and discussion. So just recapping all the ways that folks can get involved with Hilo, because this is a co-creative community-led project. You can join Building Hilo, which is our group on Hilo for our open source community. Many of you are probably already a member of it. And I'll drop all these links in the chat in a minute. But Building Hilo is where we discuss as a community all these features, ideas. People give us input all the time. People report bugs. And that's how you can get involved in learning how to contribute more as well. So that is the number one way to get involved. And then one specific thing that's coming up for us right now is with our multi-language support. There's a couple of key languages that our partners are asking for, and we're also open to hearing more languages too. But if you know anyone who would be interested in doing a simple user interface translation in Japanese, Punjabi, or Korean, please send them our way. We have a bunch of people who've already volunteered to do translations, and it's super exciting. It's a great way to contribute to an open source project without needing to code, but you do need to know languages. But yeah, we're super stoked that we're going to be able to present Hilo in these languages really soon. Other things you can do, you can pass on the article about our stewardship deck or share the deck itself, because we are looking for funding. Yes, always with funding to build these things. We are putting together a round of philanthropic donations from individuals, foundations, etc. So if you're aware of any grants or other resources that are relevant to creating governance tools for communities, please send them our way. That'd be super helpful. And then you are always welcome to support us on Open Collective, which is a place where community members can just make one-time or recurring small donations to support what we're doing. And all of those things are super helpful and appreciated. Yeah. So now we can talk about Q&A, and I'm going to look at the chat. Okay, so Anita needs the link to the deck. Anita, if you look at the Medium link that I posted, that has links to the deck in it. So check that out. Jennifer, hey Jennifer, question about, are we connected with social systems mapping folks, the folks who developed some app? Tibet might be through the Collaborative Technology Alliance. We're big fans of some app. It's really, really cool to see what you can do with it. And we would love to have that kind of mapping in Hilo. I think probably the way we would do it, it would be like an integration where you would still use some app to create it, but then you could view it or use it in your Hilo group. Tia, do you have any comments on that one?
I did respond in the chat.
Oh, okay, cool.
I haven't spoken to them directly, but we're connected to Ben Roberts, who uses that a lot and is involved and I think has a personal relationship with them. So probably would be a good idea to say hello at some point.
Yeah, Jennifer, for your groups, is that something that you all use or are really interested in?
I just see them really wanting to dig deep into these community of practice conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I think they're always looking to expand people who are interested in it as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I would love to connect with them more. Okay, I saw a question from Amanda. Hey, Amanda, about the translations. And yeah, okay, Tibet already responded to that. Yeah, basically the question is like, what does that look like to translate an interface? And we would provide a document with all of the phrases. We could also like link to where the phrase appears so people can see it in context. And then it would simply be the job of the translator to create like a culturally appropriate translation for their language. And there's honestly not even that many words in the interface. It wouldn't be like a huge job, like probably a few hours of translation. So yeah. And cool. I'm just scrolling through the chat to make sure I'm not missing anything. Does anyone have questions they'd like to share out loud?
Or comments, feedback?
Yeah, feedback, input, reflections. I see Bruce has a hand. Go ahead, Bruce.
One of the things that I've been looking at with some other people is the how to build the connectedness between the members of an ad hoc community group, where people show up because they hear about it and they come to see and they like it. So they're participants, but they're kind of like looking for an opportunity and they haven't quite found it yet. So part of it is how to link people together, because these opportunities that are going to show up aren't necessarily going to be something one person can do by themselves. It's going to be likely to be working on an area that is interesting to them, and with other people that bring in different skills and different perspectives to work with a team. And so the teams form out of people getting to know each other, learning to trust each other, learning, engaging with each other. And I'm wondering what you have in mind for facilitating that. And I don't know what there is right now, so I'm just asking out of the blue.
Yeah, it's a really great question. I'll share some thoughts, and then I bet Krisha has ideas too. Krisha's our community lead. Yeah, I mean, that's really just the crux of everything, isn't it? We want to have groups that have strong relationships, that there's trust, because those are the things that enable people to effectively collaborate and get things done. Hilo is for purpose-driven groups. So we encourage all the groups on our platform to get really clear about what their purpose is that brings people together. It's pretty hard to invite people into an online space if there isn't a shared purpose that people are super excited about. So definitely that, and being able to communicate that clear purpose. And that's also something that you can make that invitation to people to join you in that purpose, but then you can invite your group members to help you deepen that purpose and get extra clear on why you're all there and why people care. And then beyond that, I would say giving your group members opportunities to share responsibility for what you're creating together. So some easy, not that easy, but some first ways that you can do that is by not only involving people in developing your shared purpose, but you can involve folks in developing your values as a group. You can involve the members of your group in developing your agreements for how you interact with each other, how you treat each other, how you handle conflict, how you distribute resources equitably. And these are all things that come to us from the pro-social methodology. So highly recommend that book and framework if you're not already familiar with it. And also, like, how do we make decisions? Those are some of the really important things that you can get from that. And then some of the key functionality on Hilo that I would really encourage you to use and encourage your group members are on it can be an event, a project, and it can be a request, an offer, or a resource. So those are very intentional that those are the post types. And with a request and an offer, especially, it can need group, and then someone and can meet me in that request and can give me what I need. Maybe it's help using a tool, maybe it's help driving somewhere, whatever it is. But if someone can do that for me, I'm going to feel so much more connected to that person and so much more trust. And same if I'm the one offering and then someone receives what I have to offer. People in the group helping each other and doing what they said they would do for each other, that to us is the magic of what a group can be. And that's like accountability, peer-to-peer accountability. And that's what creates strong groups, in our opinion. And creating a strong group online is not easy to do. And the tool alone will not do it for you. So we are trying to provide tools that help it happen. And those are some of the ones we really encourage.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tibet or Krisha, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Claire said, and I'm sorry I missed the question. My Wi-Fi has been really wonky. But really having a human face behind the group is so important. Like we have all these tools, we have all these ways that you can connect, but unless there's someone really adding that human touch, that really is what we see the difference between successful groups and unsuccessful groups, is really having that steward that is so vested in the community and is there as present, responding to people's comments, really modeling how how to behave in the group. That's where we see the most difference. And that's one of the reasons that one of the reasons why we developed the community stewardship program, is because that's what we saw, is it's not just about the tools, it's about how it's stewarded.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Krisha. I see Bruce, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Thanks. I'm intrigued. I'm fairly new to this platform. I'm involved with ProSocial and also with Dialogue for Peaceful Change. We just started up in a discussion area for people doing advanced work in that. But I'm also involved in, we're just creating and incorporating a not-for-profit cooperative called Happy Community Builders. And this is an international group of people who are facilitators, community organizers. So it's to support the people who are doing the work of building communities. So this would clearly be a great place for us to dialogue and support one another. What we're also looking for is, of course, we need to be generating revenue to keep us going. I'm wondering, is there a policy of being able to use Hilo for like doing trainings or workshops for a fee, or is everything on Hilo always free and open?
Right now it is free and open. And if you are charging folks for their participation, that would have to happen on another platform, which is what groups do currently. However, doing paid group memberships is on our roadmap. It's something that we've started work on, and we're about, I don't know, halfway there, would you say, Tibet? It's something that groups really want, whether it's just like because they want to make a business out of it, or because they want to create like a community funding pool to share. We've heard that people really want that and need that. So it is something that we're going to try to carry out. And I see Tibet, you have a hand, so you probably want to say something about that.
Yeah, just to add that there's not like a policy in terms of like you can do whatever you want within your group, right? You can charge money. Yeah, we're not like trying to control what is happening within groups. Like Claire said, we want to facilitate and support you actually to have the ability to charge for aspects of use of your group if you want to. Hilo will remain free. But I also wanted to say that, the group that you're talking about kind of dovetails really well with the community stewardship program that Krisha is talking about, and that we do have this long-term vision of having a whole network of community facilitators and organizers and conflict resolution experts, governance experts, legal experts that are can be found through Hilo, that are basically part of the Hilo network. And that could be a business model for them as well as for us, because we will, hopefully more and more over time, have all kinds of groups using Hilo that will need support at different times in different ways. And if there was a really easy way for them to say, we need a vetted in some way, pro-social facilitator or restorative justice facilitator, then there can be a sort of referral mechanism even built into the platform. And that's just very connected to how we see, our long-term visions and dreams manifesting and human touch, as Krisha said. It's, creating more pro-social behavior in the world, building more trust, building more relationship, creating groups that are doing impactful work in the world is not just going to happen through technology. And I think that's one of the flaws we see in some of the Web3 communities and projects, where it's like, we're going to solve all these social issues entirely through algorithms and AI and crypto, when that's just not how it works. Humans are messy and complex, and a lot of it is about real relationship building, and dealing with conflict and learning how to make good decisions collectively together. And so we're really trying to figure out how to support and enable these things in happening. But there's always going to have to be the human process happening as well.
Yeah, thanks, T, for bringing that into the space. Any other reflections, inquiries?
I will just say thank you. I saw Hilo when it was under different leadership years ago, and just loved what I saw, and was so heartbroken when it seemed like it went dormant. And then I remember when I looked again and saw that you guys had taken up the helm, and just am so excited about what you're building and what you're doing, and the spirit in which you're doing it. So just thank you for all of the work that you guys are doing. You're helping a lot of people bring good into the world. So I can imagine how deep and intricate it is to build all this functionality. So just, we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for saying that. Really appreciate that. Yeah, we're friends with Edward and Julia, the co-founders, and that's how we came into the stewardship of the platform. And they're still very involved. They're still both very dear friends and advisors, and they help us out in so many ways. So their legacy is totally continuing, and definitely the spirit of what they started is continuing. And yeah, it's kind of crazy for a software platform to make the transition that has been made from a for-profit to an open source nonprofit platform. That is just not a thing that happens very often. So it's a very experimental journey that we're all on. And we know it doesn't look like what software normally looks like, with everything perfectly polished and moving really quickly. This is a much more organic and human process. And we really appreciate everyone that's part of our community that believes in us and is willing to show up and build this with us. Yeah, so thanks.
You are very welcome.
This is an interesting question from Michael about, are there established models or models of established communities getting started with Hilo? Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two camps. A lot of the communities coming onto Hilo already exist, either in person or on another platform. And some of the communities that get started on Hilo are brand new. So we kind of see both of them happening. I think what probably would be useful is for us to create some case studies about those and share those. Yeah. Well, we have a partner that we're going to be talking about more in January. That is a great example of an established community that's coming onto Hilo, but we're not supposed to talk about them yet. So we're going to have to wait on that one. Krisha or Tibet, if there's any other examples of established communities coming on that you can think of. I mean, one example is Open Team. Um, oh yeah, great. Michael's volunteering to be a case study. Amazing. Um, I'll share really quick about Open Team, and then I want to hear about your community, Michael. Open Team, some of you here are members, but it's a group of humans that are sitting at the intersection of regenerative agriculture and technology and creating open source, fair and inclusive technical tools for people that care about soil health and regenerating our landscapes. And so that is a really interesting case because they didn't have a community platform, but they are a very active community that has mostly met through Zoom calls and working groups, and they're a network of networks. And so their transition is ongoing and it is a process. And the way that they're handling it is they are doing pilot programs and they have fellows who are compensated. And for each fellow, they are matched with a network of land stewards. And it's their job to communicate with the members of their network about the toolkit that Open Team offers, of which Hilo is a part. And it's their job to help the land stewards onboard to the technologies and start using them and give us a lot of feedback on how it's going and what changes need to be made. And it's too early to say, like, is it working? But I think what really matters is that there's a lot of resources that are going into it and a lot of human care and attention. So I have a lot of faith that it's going to turn out really, really well. But yeah, we'll have to get back to you on that one later on. But tell me about your community.
It's wild that you used the example of soil health. So I started community as soon as my city, my original city, Toronto in Ontario, Canada, went into lockdown for COVID. I knew that I needed to have a structure to my day, and I knew that dance was part of it. And so I started an online dance. We dance and have danced every single weekday since March of 2020. And we play, I'd say 80% uplifting music for an hour. It follows, like, if people are 5 rhythms or ecstatic dance practitioners, we follow typically that arc, but without putting us to sleep at the end. It's about to launch us into our day. And then we dance or shake or whatever, either on or off camera, as long as it's family friendly. And then we have a 15-minute sharing and support circle. And then magic happens. We have other stuff. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we do a second round, our afternoon delight, for like an afternoon dance party. And then we also do a deeper dive, an hour-long sharing and support circle one of the days of the week. And we've got other offshoots. So it's this really heart-centered community based on respect and really just witnessing one another, and also the availability of support.
That sounds
and
so
there's like, yeah, and there's like so much growth, and like we're like a, I don't know, a community, a congregation. I don't even know exactly what we are, but there's so much more potential that I see possible, because right now we're mostly just when like we're on Zoom, and Hilo will allow us to have a presence that's 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really, really fun.
Right.
Blessings on your group doing something so fun.
Thanks. And what's amazing is, so it was World Soil Day on, I think it was Monday. And so our DJ Maggie put together a set, and I'm just going to get the link here. It's there it is, up on Mixcloud. So if anyone else is really into soil and Healthy Planet, there's an hour-long set. Mixcloud doesn't, unless you subscribe, doesn't show you the track names until you've heard the whole thing. Happy to share like these amazing songs that you can still move your body to, but has really important messages, and it's just fun and groovy.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that would be rad. And that's the kind of group that totally could come onto Hilo, I think, really successfully and start like you can create events for all of the synchronous activities you're doing. And then you can also have like asynchronous conversation, care circles, all kinds of things happening to like deepen the community. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Tibet also sent me a message that I should talk about Salmon Nation, so I'm going to mention that real quick. Salmon Nation is a group that is an example of a group that exists, and they're going to be coming onto Hilo. They represent a bioregion that is the historic range of Pacific salmon, so California Bay Area all the way to Alaska. And it's this huge landscape of 40 million people, and we're all united by the health of the keystone species of salmon. And so Salmon Nation Trust is creating an online community for regenerative leaders throughout the bioregion for us to be in a space of mutual care and practice together. And that's another example of a group that has resources and is using them to support the stewards who are going to be leading that project. So there's a lot of work going into recruitment, a lot of work going into designing the community and creating opportunities for engagement and mentorship and like workshops that are going to happen in the community. So like, not everyone has the ability to put that much intention into an online space, but if you do, that is 100% the way to do it, because the more planning and care that goes into setting up the community space and bringing the right people in, the more successful it's going to be. Like, yeah, I think it's just to echo what Tibet said a little while ago, and Krisha as well, like the human element of community is just the most important part. And when you come onto an online space, like the online tool does not magically make it happen. It still is all about the heart center of your group and the people that are caring for it. And yeah, the tool can help, and we're designing Hilo to be that support. But really, it's all about you and what you bring and how you move in your group. Yeah. Krisha, T, any last thoughts?
No, just really grateful to have all these faces on the call, and the support really means a lot. It's a co-created effort, like Claire mentioned, and it wouldn't be the same without all of you.
Nothing more from me except thank you all, and more good stuff to come.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so much more to share in the new year too. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We'll share out this recording and you can share it with your peeps. And please join us in building Hilo and be in dialogue with us and co-create this with us. Thanks so much, everyone. Blessings. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.